I'm going to do a little fab work to my 1975 Datsun B210 and a little engine work for my 1968 Datsun 520 pickup truck. Speaking of pickup trucks, conversation comments for this video. If you could only buy one pickup truck, unlimited money, what would it be? I'll go first. 1980 Toyota pickup truck, 4-wheel drive, domestic. It'd be a 1978 Ford F-150 4-wheel drive. What truck would you choose and why? If you are new to the channel or a longtime viewer, you are in safe hands. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt, at your service. I put a little self-etching primer on there, just a thin layer, and this is that 2000 degree heat paint. I'm going to spray it with that. I figure when you weld, maybe it doesn't burn as much of this paint up. I try not to go too heavy where I know I'm going to have to weld it. So now our next piece, it'll go right here like this and be spot welded on the top and down through here. Driver's side is done. I did paint the inside of that panel I just installed, in case you're wondering. What are you supposed to say with work like this? All it is cut, weld, grind. That's it. Do the best you can. And I just kept putting the fender back on there, making sure it lines up with the door and the hood. Speaking of the hood, it's got a big dent in the front of it. I'm going to yoink that out right now. Kind of roughed it in straight. I'm going to spray it with just a little bit of primer to keep it from rusting. It's still not completed. And it still has issues, but we're getting there. It's got the main spot where it was hit right there. It still needs work. You don't want to play with the hood too much. If you get it pretty darn close, then you should go ahead and just fiberglass fill it and bondo it up, because heating, cooling, banging on them, that'll warp them and you'll have a mess. You don't want them to warp. I wanted to show everybody why these fender rails rusted out in the first place. And the reason why is because if you look down in there, see that hole right there? That hole is made that way from the factory. And I don't know if it was to drain something out, but what happens is when the wheels spin, everything gets thrown up in there, and that's how this got all filled up. I couldn't figure out how to get so full. I want it to be the same width it was before. This side was a little worse and I knew it, so I had to replace this part right here. It wasn't completely gone, but it was pitted enough that I thought I should replace it. This is structure. Should clean up just fine on the inside. I'm fitting this piece. There's a gap right here because it's not straight. It's got a hump in it. I'm going to cut two lines, one here and one here. But where I'll cut the lines is right here on the inside of this and the inside of that, so that you won't see them on the other side and I won't have to bondo it up or whatever. I may still have to cut more, maybe another one up front here, I'm not sure. But at least these two will be hid. That's pretty decent, actually. When I squeeze this together and weld it, it's making a curve on the top. But you gotta remember, when you weld, it's gonna draw it in tight here, so it's gonna make more of a curve. You need to kind of compensate for that. Don't pull it all the way as tight as you think it should be. Leave just a little bit out. Now this piece, this side needs to go in, so I cut a slit right here, and that way you can squeeze these sides together just to make everything fit nice and flat. I have this piece all fitted, ready to go. I put two new top plates here, welded them in. Now this will go like this. This piece right here has to be welded on solid, so it'll be dot, dot, dot over and over again until it's solid. All of the holes is where there's going to be a plug weld. Before I can do any welding at all, I got to treat all this metal and this area with OSPO. New metal has mill slag on it. That's why I've sanded this all off. And now with that OSPO, I'll scrub it first a little bit with OSPO. and it'll be ready so the mill scale's gone and treated for rust, and then I'll spray a little paint on it. I'm gonna finish this piece because I want to just prep all the pieces at once. I bolted this piece back on right here on the bottom. Now this is here. I'm just gotta trace it out underneath it, cut it, and weld it to this piece. I think it's wasteful to use it in a spray bottle, this OSFO, but it's easier. Cleaning up the area just where I'm welding it, and a lot of people say, well, the heat will draw the contaminants in there. That's maybe possible, but I'm gonna weld it so hot, hopefully it burns them out. For the holes, I'm just gonna take a little razor blade and scratch it clean. All welded up and ground down. I will paint it again just a little bit. I want this car to be waterproof. You can see the penetration there on the inside. I'm gonna grind it down right to the weld so none of that metal is overlapping. That will be at a later time. That's a view of up in the corner. It looks good. Everything came out nice and flat. Now this piece will be mounted right here, like that. I will plug weld it on the top and, underneath here. Then I'm still gonna need a piece right here and in the front. I've had enough fabrication for today. Let's move on to the pickup truck. Just a reminder, the 68 520 is getting an L20B engine rebuilt for it in a 5-speed. I'm not replacing the pistons. The only reason I took those off is because they're so rusty, the rods are. I've got to get them cleaned up because if I fire this thing up with all new bearings and stuff in it, that rust will fall out and circulate through the engine. I did get lucky, one of them wasn't rusty, so I didn't take it off. Wrist pin and a little ice to cool it off. Nerve-wracking. I don't know why I didn't think of making this thing out of a 4x4 to start with. I just got to do a little tweaking on this one. That might do it. It's a nightmare to ruin a piston. I don't want to do that. A little more. Fits in there perfect, like a glove. Hey now. Exactly perfect. Crank's in rough shape, not the journals, but it's rusted up where the weights are. Won't hurt to get this soaking a little bit. It's wanting to rust quick. It's really humid out today, so I've got the heat gun underneath there and we're gonna blow it dry. Time for some main bearings. This one is the only one with 2 holes in it. It's got a little one right here, and this journal has 2 holes. So I'll put that in first so I don't screw things up. I also noticed that these bearings are different sizes. This, of course, is the thrust bearing. Keeps it from going side to side. This one is a little more narrow. This one is a little more wider. So the two end ones were more wide. We got the thrust bearing and then two narrow ones here. Assembly lube, and the back side of the bearings I had dry and clean where they go into the block. I have to replace these rubbers. Here's our crankshaft. Always have to put oil on the threads of the bolts so they torque properly. 40 foot-pounds, but I always do steps. So it's 20 and then I'll go 40. You should use plastic gauge at minimum. I did not because I'm just not concerned with this engine. I think it's perfectly fine. If there is a defective bearing, then so be it. I don't know about you guys, but it's 40 foot-pounds, so I went to 42. So crazy, the new engines have all these steps to do, and you stretch the bolts and everything else, and this engine, 40 foot-pounds, and it'll last 500,000 miles. You can tell how smooth and nice it is, that the measurements, the bearings, everything's fine. I'm just freshening this engine up. At this point, you would want to check end play. That's the crankshaft going this way and this way. That's what the thrust bearings are for. So you put a dial indicator at the end of the crankshaft, and then you would pry it with a screwdriver back and forth, kind of like this, to see how much movement you have. I'm going to check the piston ring end gap only on 2 cylinders with 2 sets of rings. The only reason I'm even checking it, because I honed it, I didn't bore it, so I'm curious how big the gap is, see how worn out it is. This cylinder had the biggest ring groove, and it's actually, the ring is in spec. It's just about 16 thousandths is the spec, and that's 15, and it fits like perfectly. So that's a shocker. Let's check one more. This one seems to not have much of a ring groove at all. I can't remember exactly how far down you're supposed to go, but I know it'd be wider on the top, so we'll just go down a little bit. Kind of want to square the ring up in there. This one's about the same. There's no reason to bore this engine. It'll be just fine. Stagger your rings properly. Look in your manual. I've seen these kids on TikTok complaining about these ring compressors, but well, us old guys been using them for years. We haven't had no trouble with them. There's a mark on the piston that says for it to go towards the front of the engine. They do make rubbers that go over the top of the rod bolts so they don't scratch the crank, but I'm just going to be careful, stick my hand up there and make sure they don't do that. So again, 40 on the rod bolts, same as the main caps. You could sling all the piston and rods in at once, but that's just not my style. I like to ease around, check things, make sure everything's running smooth, especially an engine like this, and I'm kind of building off of feel instead of measurements, which I strongly don't recommend. That's all 4, rolling smooth and nice. If you are one of the few to endure this video to the very end, please comment below. Benny, I'm sorry you're still broke. Don't forget there's a hype button. You can hit it as many times as you would like. Usually they let you do it about 3 times. Hit the like, share, and comment. Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.